Howdy, people. So here is hit like, subscribe. We're going to do a quick knife review. Although I say quick and they always end up running long. But this is a new one, new brand to the channel. Never tried it before. Looked interesting to me because I really was looking at one of the Taggeouts from Benchmade, and I love my bug out. It's perfect DDC, small, light. Although I've actually been carrying this little guy, the Delica, a lot more than the bailout or the bug out. But I wanted to try, I like the Taggedout. I like the idea of the full-size knife if I'm going hunting or doing something more outdoorsy and, wanted a bigger, heftier blade, but still being super thin, light, portable, EDC and all that. But I didn't feel like it was worth $180 plus tax. You look at $190 out the door. And I was just like, pushing almost $200 for that. Just didn't feel it was worth it, so I ended up passing on it. So I saw this one on Amazon, and I was like, maybe this will be the poor man's version of the Taggedout, or close to it. So I'm sure it won't be as good in some ways, but, for $30, why not check it out? So open the box. It's a brand called SRM. It's the model 9201. It's a decent enough box. It's one of the knives made in China. SRM says since 1998. So, all right, they've been in business for 24 years. So let's see what we got here. We got a nice little pouch. Multi-function shovel. Maybe they meant tool. I don't know. That's interesting. So it looks like some other knives, a little catalog you can get for other knives and things like that. Got some karambits. Yeah, their blades actually look kind of decent. Interesting designs. Got a nice little multi-tool there. Multi-function knife. Maybe I'll check that one out. And then they got these oh, that's an actual, okay, so that is a shovel. And then it's got saw blades and different things inside. So, okay, whatever. Anyway, that's what came in the box. Let's see, we've got a little drawstring here on a little sack. Nice logo. It's nice packaging for $30. Let's take a look at this, shall we? I will say it is not as light as the Taggedout. This weighs like 3.3 something ounces versus 2.3 or whatever, so it's about an ounce or so heavier, which would be noticeable, but it's light for its size. It does use the axis lock. It is G10 on the handle. It is a reversible semi-deep carry pocket clip. The back spacer here is G10. Help keep the weight down. You get your lanyard hole. Looks like a T8 and T6, which is very common these days. We'll go over the screws and torque and make sure everything's tight. Tension, yeah, right there. It's right there where you want. It is a D2 blade. I'm holding it at a weird angle because I'm trying to hold my wrist like that. Interesting. Let's wipe the blade down, make sure there's no oil and stuff on there. So you got a large kind of thumb hole. It's a 3.56 or something like that inch whatchamacallit blade. It's a clip style kind of hunting blade, high flat grind. You got some jimping up here. Not really a finger choil, but it's a fairly decent sharpening choil. Ergonomically, it's pretty good. I mean, it's actually scalloped there a little bit. It's got some pretty nice machining on there. Like that little blue ring around the collar, around that pivot point. Spring tension pretty good. The blade isn't drop yet, but some of my Benchmades weren't when I first bought them. I had to actually break them in a little bit. You can always adjust the tension on that pivot. There's no blade wobble or anything like that. I believe this is on phosphor bronze washers. Again, I'm used to the bug out being so light, or the blade swinging out so easily. This one, you just have to give it a little bit more. I'm trying to just do it very lightly because when you do that with the bug out, it's so loose. It's like whack. You don't need to do that. But here, it just takes a little bit more. I usually tend to just roll it out or thumb flick it. Yeah, I bet you if I took that tension off like a 1/16 of a turn, that blade would just start flopping around. It's fairly loose. We'll see how that breaks in, but it is very smooth. That's nice and smooth, definitely. No sharp edges there. The blade seems to be machined. And actually, they did some machining further in there. You look at that edge, it's not just a hole that's cut in it, like the Spyderco, which leaves you this really kind of sharp edge there. That's on the Japanese, one there. This has kind of like steps that are milled into that. You see those little ridges? So you get traction, but it's like jimping. It's like lateral jimping. That's kind of interesting. Let's go over the length. Yeah, just over 3.5 inches. Cutting edge is about 3.4. Pretty good sized blade. I mean, and that's what's nice about this. I'll say it's not as thin. It's pretty thin. And it's very light, but it's not as thin and light as the Taggedout. But, I mean, it's D2, which is decent tool steel. Rockwell hardness, they're claiming 59 to 61, which is what you would want for that kind of steel. The pocket clip is reversible. This is truly ambidextrous. So, the locking mechanism, you can use, left or right-handed, obviously. And then you got your pocket clip, can be reversible. 2 screws, goes into a channel, which keeps it from, even with 2 screws, sometimes there's some play in there and it can rock back and forth. It really doesn't. Blade play, nothing. No rocking up and down. And that's something you get sometimes with the Axis lock knives. They've done a pretty good job. If you look in there, and if you can see that on the camera, but you can see that milling. You can see the big holes they milled out in there. So you got steel liners in there. So this is strong. That's the other thing. So that's the difference, really, I think, with the Benchmade, is it has that grivery. And just like you have with the Bug Out, you can pinch them with your finger and thumb and almost get the scales to touch. I mean, it really is flexible. Now, I haven't heard of them actually breaking or anything like that. It's a tough material. But, I mean, this barely moves, those steel liners. So you add a little bit of weight, but you're not talking much. Edge feels pretty damn sharp. So let's do a quick paper slice. Yeah. Effortlessly. Yeah. Push test. Does a push test effortlessly. That's a good factory edge. So this is the SRM 9201. What I would say is if you're looking for a little bit larger, little bit brawny, you want it to be thin and light, but you want something to where if you were skinning game or you were whittling or you were doing something where you needed a fairly decent knife, where something like the little Delica wouldn't be enough. I mean, you can certainly do a lot. You can do more with this than most people give it credit for, but you wanted that bigger hunting style folding knife. But you don't want to pay $180. This was $30. D2 stainless steel reversible, tip-up carry, Axis lock design, nice machine G10. Very comfortable in the hand. Very comfortable. As far as opening methods, you can roll it, which is the easiest. As the blade loosens up, the thumb flick will be a little bit more fluid out of the gate. I don't know if the Spidey flick is going to work. Yeah, it'll probably need to loosen up a little bit there. The way that thing is when you push, where people go wrong with either thumb flicks or Spidey flick, I guess, is that they want to push it out. And you can't, human hands are meant to grab and pull in. Flicking out, you need to be able to open your hand. You have some strength, but the amount of speed and strength and dexterity you have closing your hand, you can generate so much more force. I mean, I can grab someone's hand and crush it to where it feels like you're going to break their hands. But trying to open my hand against my other hand, I'm using like 10 full strength on this hand trying to open my fingers, and I'm using like 5% to keep it there. It's just the way the human anatomy works. So you don't necessarily push it out. You push up against the detent, and that pressure builds, and then when it does let go, that stored energy there kind of swings it up and around. With this, it sits in kind of tight, and because it's oval and elliptical towards that end, the Spidey flick's probably going to come down to the size of your finger, because my finger doesn't want to fit. It wants to fit in it this way. It's very narrow, that hole up near the top that way. So for me, I'm having a hard time getting purchase on it to do it. My finger just wants to slide off before I've pushed it up enough to get anything. So maybe someone better at it than me can do the Spidey flick with this particular knife, as opposed to, you know, when you have that round thing, although lockbacks aren't really good for this. But you can almost, this one's loosening up nice. You can almost get it. Well, there you go. All right. But there, see how more of my finger, I can push, 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 and my finger doesn't want to slide out. And then when it does let go, it slides open. So this is actually breaking in nicely and doing that. Here, my finger is sliding up along it. There's no real purchase until it gets to the end, and then my finger half the time is either sliding that way or up. So you're going to have mixed results. If you have smaller fingers than me that fit more up in there and can hook it the way that my finger hooks it here, then you probably can do the Spidey flick just fine. This one is, the Spydercos are actually really good at that because it doesn't matter what angle, it's a circle, it's always going to get the same amount of grip. This elliptical type, yeah, it's not working so much. So I think with practice and loosening up the blade, you could get it. But anyway, it's very sharp. It's got nice jimping. It's got a very pleasing blade shape. Like, that's a nice looking knife. You can get it in a gray handle or green and stone wash or black wash, I think it is, on the blade. Now, some of them are a different steel I've seen. I wanted this one specifically because I wanted D2. That was the better steel over the 8CR. Was it? I can never remember the goddamn name of it. 8CR MOV 13, whatever. My saying that, you should know what I'm talking about. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, now this is actually loosening up already. So yeah, that's gonna, I don't know if it'll ever get as loosey-goosey as the the bug out, but it's already starting to get that way. So it's making it easier to just thumb flick it. This one, even doing the thumb flick, I'm having to push my thumb down at an angle in the corner because, again, the way it gets narrow, your thumb wants to slide out. This way, you got plenty of traction because I can get my whole damn thumb through there. When you turn your thumb that way, I mean, look how much I've got. You turn your thumb that way, you're barely getting anything through there. And so that's where it's sliding off. And maybe with those ridged jimping, that might make it a little bit worse for that because it's not a hard edge. Your finger wants to slide off because it's at an angle. So that might prevent it. It's on both sides. That might be what prevents it from doing the Spidey flick. Even that one I screw up half the time. I still screw it up. Let's see. We got it. Why was I just doing it? I don't know. I was doing it before. That's the other thing. I noticed this thing's so sharp. You keep seeing these flecks. It's slicing. It's slicing and shaving off slivers off of my whatchamacallit, off my fingernail. That edge, I need to radius that just slightly. It's sharper than the US made ones I have. It's like that needs to be just slightly chamfered, but not so much that it's like that. So do a thumb roll with this one or flick it like that. Really nice though, G10. That'll be good, give you good grip even when it's wet. It's not gonna get slippery. No real hot spot. That's a fairly shallow clip. Now you might find on some jeans, if you got a really thick seam on the edge of your pocket, it being that thick with the screws not protruding, it might snag a little there. So we'll see. It's not a perfect knife. I would say that could be improved upon. It would be nice to see it just a little bit deeper this way. So if you're going to have those mushroom caps sticking up there, as they call them, it'd be nice to have this be a little bit taller. But you only got about 3.5, 4 millimeters in there. So some jeans might kind of click and might kind of catch on it. Won't draw as smoothly as something like that. So we'll see. I'll carry it around. Yeah, this is already loosening up really nice. Very nice knife. I would just open it like that. And compare it to, the only other like sort of hunting style blade folding knife I have is the Victorinox Hunter in Alox, which is hella bigger and more than double the weight. I want to say this is like a 7 or 8 ounce knife. Now, that's a lot of steel. They're thin, but those are big steel liners. Those are big, thick aluminum slabs. It's a big steel clip. The back spacer is steel. The spring on the lockback is steel. There's a lot of steel. Now, this is a great knife. It's like a tank. It's got a nice sharp edge. Good stabby, pointy, very sturdy outdoor knife. But $110. $30. Really nice knife, though. I like it. Overall, I like it. We'll see how I like that pocket clip. But overall, it's a very smooth, very nice knife. So That is the SRM 9201. Not a lot of billboarding. You just got the logo on one side. What does it say? Stay ready for more. Some of the logos they put on and some of the, it's like, stay ready for more what? What am I, kind of goofy. Don't mind that logo. Don't mind the model number. Don't really need a serial number. I mean, am I going to do a warranty claim on a $30 knife and have to check my serial number? Am I going to go register that online? Don't think so. But there you have it. There's the SRM. A lot bigger than the Delica, but if you want to have basically the closest thing I could find to the poor man's Taggedout for an outdoors kind of folding hunter knife kind of thing, you don't want to spend $180. I'm hoping at some point those prices will come down because I think it is a really cool knife. For the size of the Taggedout, it's wicked light and thin, but it's also flexible and feels flimsy, and it's the better part of $200. I got this with Amazon Prime delivered, I think with taxes, was only like $32 or something. $33, whatever. It's cheap. It's got to be phosphor bronze because, man, that is wearing in so quickly. Just sitting here flicking this. This thing now almost feels like ball bearings. Like this is really smoothing out. And that blade is starting to loosen up. Very cool, very cool. All right, I'll stop talking, but check it out. SRM 9201. Very good. If you've got big hands, reverse grip works nice. I love the reverse grip, the way that just your thumb curls around. I don't know why you would do a reverse grip, but if you had to if you had to smash your phone camera, do it. If you had to puncture a drum or something, it's nice that it doesn't bite into your hand at all. It's nice and rounded. You got traction because you got jimping on that G10. The G10 itself, it's like jimped everywhere because you got that texture. You got the jimping up there. It's a very smooth, very comfortable, very secure grip. Like it a lot. I'm glad I got that. That's going right in my knife drawer. I'll carry that occasionally if I'm going somewhere. Very nice. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Have a good day, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to get one of these.